Welcome, time for some art fun. Today we're going to have this little Jackson's unboxing and then paint a couple of paintings in my sketchbook and talk about how to love not just the new supplies, but the supplies we already have. So stick around. A little while ago, I did a big watercolor unboxing where I created a super granulating watercolor palette. I had a couple of spots left open and I looked through all of your comments and I selected a few more colors to add to the palette. And they arrived in this haul from Jackson's. So first things first, I got two half pans. I didn't want to get a giant tube of these. I wanted to just try the half pans first. And the two colors that I was really missing were just a classic yellow and a classic bright red. So the two I chose for that were the volcano red and the volcano yellow from Schminke. And they are both extremely granulating colors. So I will be swatching those later as well. And then I also was watching a video about how to create fur texture with your acrylics. And I saw the rake brush for the first time and I went and decided to add a few of those to my cart while I was getting the watercolors as well. So I got these Terry Harrison Special Effects Design rake brushes that are so cool. I have to tell you, they are so cool in person. They even already look like they are fur. Like they're actually, the brushes look like fur and it totally, I just cannot wait. I'm going to use them on my next canvas painting and I'm really excited. I got two smalls, a round and a square rake, and then one medium square rake brush. And they were very affordable and I just think they're really cool. So I'm looking forward to using those. And then finally I got one more Daniel Smith color. I got two of the tubes. It was just a better deal, weirdly, to get two 5 mil than one 15 mil, but it's the Lunar Blue. And a lot of you were recommending the Lunar Blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them out. I added them to my super granulating palette here and we will swatch them out. So first up is this volcano yellow. And it is yellow, so it's a little bit harder to see. The only other true yellow I have in this palette is the Naples yellow on the top left. And that's not a granulating color. It's an opaque-ish color, but it's not granulating. So this is my first and only granulating yellow. I honestly didn't even know a granulating yellow existed until your comments to my super granulating palette video. I really loved this color. I couldn't wait to use it. And it actually, the yellow and red, when I was swatching them here, inspired me for my first painting that I'm going to do for you in this video, which is a toucan. And the toucan concept came from Temple Moore, one of the subscribers who comments on my channel, makes it to a lot of the live premieres and hangs out in the live chat with us, with some of our oldie but goodie subscribers here on the channel. And I've already done a couple of her suggested animals, but the toucan was sort of rattling around in my mind. And when I saw the volcano yellow and the volcano red, and I will be giving you close-ups, so hold on. I know this is like torture to see the from afar view when you really want to get up close into the face of these gorgeous watercolors. I'm going to bring you right in to see what I'm talking about. But when I saw that red, the volcano red and the volcano yellow, right next to those blues and teals and turquoises up above, I thought, okay, maybe this is the moment to do a toucan. I can't wait. So I did. But I really couldn't get over how beautiful the granulation was, especially in this volcano red. It is really appropriately named. Like when it dried, it definitely gave me lava vibes, real deep lava vibes. But I also just think if ever I'm going to need to make a vibrant yellow, if I want a lot of granulation in brown or in any kind of a neutral, using this red as the neutralizer, for instance, with a green, would make just gorgeous neutrals with a ton of granulation. Up last for the swatching here was the Lunar Blue. And I totally understand why you all were telling me to get this color. It is so beautifully granulating. And it is just this sort of, I don't know, Prussian, Payne's gray bluish, just a lot of some of my favorite colors going on in this one color. So I really appreciate all of your suggestions. I do think I'm going to end up redoing the swatch card and just filling that entire middle row with even more colors, not necessarily granulating colors, just more colors. So this can be almost a primary palette instead of just a specialty palette. So then I went into my first painting, and as you'll see, I was kind of planning on doing two cans facing each other and having them on separate parts of the page. And then I ended up just loving this little guy so much I wanted him to just be the star. So I took off the middle tape and just made him the star. But one of the things that I did when I was using this, I was planning on using mostly my super granulating watercolor palette, and I did mostly use that palette. But at a certain point, I wanted just some clean, truly vibrant, super bright colors going on, especially on the beak, the toucan beak, the famous beak that makes this animal so recognizable. And so I brought out my Regina's watercolor palette. Now, I heard of this handmade watercolor brand from Emily Artful here on YouTube. She loves this brand. I'm not sponsored at all by this brand. I bought this just because they looked so stunning and it just looked like so much fun when I watched Emily Artful's channel. And they are. This is a beautiful set of watercolor, and the palette here is a glass mixing palette, and that was a big feature for me. The palette itself was definitely the most expensive part of getting these paints. But the paints are absolutely beautiful, creamy, re-wet like a dream, and they're super vibrant. So you see me using that, a mix of that and the super granulating watercolor palette here. Now, making these paintings, and you're going to see two paintings here today in my Etcher Lab A4 sized 100% cotton 220 GSM hot pressed paper sketchbook. It's definitely the most expensive, fancy, special sketchbook I've ever owned, and I did paint the cover in a video here on my channel if you want to see that. And the two paintings that I made in here were made with two of the most special, fancy, just delicious watercolor types of palettes that I've ever owned. But I can never pick a favorite watercolor or a favorite palette because I have so many beautiful, wonderful palettes that I remember the feeling of just dreaming about owning them, dreaming about ordering them, waiting for them to come impatiently when I placed the order. And then when they get there, I mean, I was going crazy with my unboxings way before I had a channel and shared how crazy I was going with my unboxings. But I mean, I love supplies. I love art supplies because they represent fun. They represent joy and relaxation and losing time, basically, just going into a zone of pure relaxation and fun, and then you sort of come out of it and there's this awesome thing that you enjoy looking at most of the time. I mean, sometimes you make stuff you don't like and sometimes you make stuff you don't enjoy looking at, but for me, especially since making this channel, it has really helped me step up my art game to where I really love most of the things that I create now. Certainly anything I'm creating for this channel, I've really enjoyed the result. And so I was just wondering, because I am using in this painting some supplies that I had just gotten and had just unboxed for you, of course, at the beginning of this video. And the feeling of using a supply for the first time or having something brand new come in the mail and you can't wait to tear into it and use it versus the feeling of having sort of an old standby that oh, I need something super vibrant, let me grab that. Like for me, the Regina's watercolors, I know, oh, I need something super vibrant, let me grab that because I know it's going to be vibrant. And I used it again, the same combination for this next piece. And I did only start filming this piece sort of midway through. My apologies. I wasn't even planning on doing anything but an Instagram reel with it. And then I was just having so much fun. I thought, why not let you all in on it? But the way that I feel about those old standby supplies, when something has come in and it lives with me now and I own it now and I've had it for a while and the unboxing, experience is well in my rearview mirror. And I can just remember how it felt to be anxiously awaiting, like these Regina's paints. I really was very anxiously awaiting them. When I ordered them, I could not wait for them to arrive. And I still leave them on my desk because they're just so beautiful and I love the palette and I love to look at it. And I know that it can't remotely compare, nothing can ever remotely compare to how I feel about my husband and how much I love him. But I did think it was an apt analogy, to think about it a little bit that way. We will have been together for 15 years this year. And I still will lose my breath sometimes looking at him because I would consider myself to still have a crush on my husband. You know what I mean? That feeling, that sort of like, oh, he's so cute, like that feeling. I still get that feeling with my husband. But the majority feeling isn't that anymore. That used to be the majority feeling when we were first dating and I didn't know him as well. And, we didn't have that feeling of safety and comfort and home that you have after you're with someone for so long. But that's a similar way that I feel about my old standby supplies that I've gone through so much with and I've made so much art with and I've had so much fun with. And I come into my studio and I see them there and I think, ooh, this is going to be fun. Like with this little Neocolor 2 on the making this into a multimedia piece, I just couldn't resist grabbing my water soluble crayons and using them. I use them on the top of the whale too. And it's somewhat like that, where it's not that, oh, I'm calling my friends and obsessively talking about this boy that I like, that I have a crush on, and I can't think of anything else, and I can't talk about anything else or focus on anything my poor friends are going through for a little while because I'm too busy thinking about him. It's not necessarily that the way it is when you're waiting for that new art supply to come in the mail and you're tracking it and tracking it and tracking it and tracking it. You can't wait for it to come in. It's not like that. But it's like you do still think about getting back. I think about getting back to my studio and playing with my supplies. And I'm thinking about, ooh, I know I'm going to want like a bright purple here. Maybe I'll grab my Regina's out and I'll play with them today and I'll have fun with them today. And being in my studio and knowing what's in there and knowing I have everything I need to play with and to have fun brings me joy and feels like home. The same way that, having a husband that you love and you're best friends with and you love spending time with and you can't wait to see at the end of the day is like being home. It's that feeling of calm and comfort that you get when you're with your family. And that's how I like to think about the supplies that have already lived in my house with me and been through so much with me. They're my family and I love them and I love using them all. And it's one of the reasons I think it's so important to just use your supplies. Whatever supplies you have, use them, love them, enjoy them, and create. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to leave a like and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you are new. Until next time, remember, create something cute.